And good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the events. I'm your host, Cyrus McCormick. And I have with me today Louis McGrath. Louis, are you there, pal?
Present.
Louis, how you been?
Doing a crap ton of work at the ball crushing factory.
Not the ball crushing factory.
Yeah, I put in 72-hour straight shifts
Jeez, man. What'd you do that for?
overtime.
Oh, yeah, you're going to Japan.
Yeah, that segues perfectly into that actually.
That's right. You see, Louis, my good friend, my main compadre, he's been slaving away to get a taste of that anime. Basically, he's a big fan of them cartoons over in that island that got bombed twice. Jesus. Uh, but that is the topic of the day. Why is anime CUMFORT? Now, what is cum? That means
Uh, why is it appealing in the eroticism, I guess?
correct. Ding ding ding. 1 5 yen. Like what? 2.001.
A hay penny if they still make those.
Ah, I don't understand the currency. I don't say anything about Japan. All I know is that that island full of people who eat ramen or something.
Bullshit. I've seen you go Super Saiyan in the bathroom
That's
before.
the only that was completely westernized and brought over. It's a completely different cartoon from
Your
Japan.
entire argument is invalid.
All right. No, the argument is why is anime CUMFORT? Why is it normies? Now we have to get our definitions right. A normie to me is somebody who is I would say a
A denizen
average
of the sun.
consumer. Average consumer.
Doing a lot of very burlesque puns over there, friend.
Basically, the reason why is because every time I take a left or a right when I'm browsing anything on any platform anywhere, my eyes are assaulted, my good friend, assaulted by
Salted.
anime drawings of women. And I
I
can't
would say
escape
graced.
assaulted.
Graced with its presence. No. So I've actually heard the theory on that. The design for specifically anime women is actually based off the concept of cats.
This is correct.
And
I believe I saw the diagram of somebody who was trying to show the bone structure of a cat and
yep,
a anime.
big eyes, little nose, all that. Very huge things that appeal to human beings because cats have that, and well, Egyptians built whole religious ideals off of that back in ancient civilizations. And in modern days, we have, well, worshipping cats through memes and putting bread on their heads.
Well, let me ask you a question, Louis. Was that always the case when anime first made? From what I remember,
No.
a lot of the old cartoons of anime that was first being made, that was never the case. It was
Yep.
straightforward, just complete art.
Uh, Depends on what you. Well, art is objective in its definition. People refer to that as oldies or 90s anime, where it didn't have the kind of stylized that, well, the style it has now.
Which is all
So
the
it had
same, according to
yeah,
me, when I look at an anime. Unless it isn't something that's been mainstreamed, like
yep.
One Piece says. You can see Luffy and a lot of these other characters have different designs. My brain gets assaulted by all these other anime when I talk to an anime. They're like, "Have you seen such and such?" And I'm like, "They show me a picture," and then I'm like, I look over and I see the same like character but different color scheme. It's
All right,
like to me,
let me elaborate the
mobile app memes.
tiers. Let me elaborate the tiers of weeb, if you will. You have the surface level. You have the normie that just is just kind of getting into it a little bit and has seen what we call well, normie, just commonplace shows. You have your My Hero Academia fans. You have your Demon Slayer fans. You have Naruto. You have One Punch Man. You have One Piece. You see that everywhere. You see merchandise for that everywhere. You can go walk into a mall and you see those bootleg T-shirt stands that have all that plastered in an unholy way all over itself, and that's very generic. It's mostly appealing to a broader audience. That's typically known as shonen anime or young man anime. It's very cliched, very actiony, and just straight to the point type shows, and
Hey, Louis,
it's
can you
it's
pause
got
for
its
just
appeal.
1 second?
Yeah, yeah. Let me know if I need to speak up.
Okay, I'm coming in a bit quiet, so I'm gonna turn myself up a bit. I've
There
already
you go.
maxed out the volume, so it's something else. Audio capture.
You just need to swallow that mic and then just groan to speak.
Oh.
Oh. I'm sad that puffer fish meme died. It had a lot of potential.
That attitude.
Well, the one thing that still is undying, it's like straight up a zombie at this point, is that how do you call it? The Ugandan Knuckles meme. That's still around. Not as prevalent, but it's there, haunting
Okay,
you
there we go. I
from
just
the
want to make sure we
shadows.
got a bit of background playing because it gets a little stale, and I've learned that having a bit of this is a.
All right.
Okay, so kind of gather my thoughts. Me myself, if you exist as a human being, and from my point of view, you have no choice but to understand and be assaulted with anime left and right. You are aware of it. You have met people who are avid fans of it. There's no way, unless you are like living in the mountains, that you haven't come across some sort of introduction to anime. The problem that I have personally is that the artistic renditions of everything that they have created throughout the years in Japan was astoundingly beautiful and deserves all the credit and praise. I do not like Japanese language. It is, to me, it's nothing against them personally. It's the way it is spoken and the way the females speak it as well. And when you have this sort of
That.
cutesy wootsy mixed into it, I can put up with cutesy wootsy. Okay, I put up with retarded bitches, Invader Zim. Okay, that kind of is like shit over here. I could put up with that. When you put that with a language that I already am irritated by, it's nothing against again people at all. The language for me, for some reason, it frustrates me. The way it is
Mm,
spoken, the way it sounds to my ears, especially
yeah.
when females say it.
So that's for two things. Culturally, the Japanese people they value cutesiness for females quite a bit. The word kawaii pops up a lot. Or is it kawaii? One of those means terrifying. One of those means cute. I forget the pronunciation. Anyway, the other thing that you're probably getting at is with English, we kind of use conjunction and we focus on forming sentences that make sense with, well, context and with proper.
I don't think it's
Uh,
so much the structure; it is the way it is sounds.
yeah, yeah, I
The
was getting
voice
to
sound
that. Is that
waves. I don't have a
yeah?
problem with Russian
They
speaking, German
segment.
speaking, or anything like that.
Yeah, it's a tonal language. It's very similar to Chinese in that regard, and they segment a lot of their words. Like they, whenever you see like people that are foreign that come to America, and there's the classic Japanese accent, they say some. They don't say some. They chop it up into like little syllable bits because they're used to that, and
It's like
it's
I
the
feel
opposite for you.
I feel frustrated that the main reason I don't enjoy anime is because of Japanese actresses. It's the female of the
Uh,
the Japanese people. When they put that also with the cutesy wootsy, my ears for some reason it hurts them. It hurts my freaking ears unless it is like dubbed. and people keep giving me crap for that. It's like, well, then how
Oh,
else am I
I
supposed
give
to
you
understand?
crap for that.
Yeah, Louis gives me crap for that. It's like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm not bleeding through the ears to listen to somebody be like, say as instead of was. Just like, eat my ass twice.
There's a lot less emotion in dub voice acting. I'm not saying all across the board, but as a general stance, it feels like someone's reading off of a script. And that's my problem with English dub is that it's usually terrible because it's like someone's reading off a book report in the 4th grade. I'm not the only one that
With
feels
that in
that, by the
mind,
way.
I also want to circle it back to the cutesy wootsy stuff that they
Mhm.
adopted. And the cat design. From what I remember, when anime was first being introduced, it was just art. It was amazing
Mhm.
art. Now they've fan service, beach episode. All the main joke about anime is ass and tits.
Now
It's
that's
like
actually
to
getting to
me,
marketing.
that's to me the same thing with what they did in the black community with rap.
Yeah, because one concept in marketing kind of
Sex
corrupts
sells.
any. Yes, you took the words right out of my mouth.
I reached down
Sex
into your
sells.
fucking stomach, pulled out the ulcer that's
The
in there,
words.
and
Yep.
bit it off. Jesus Christ! What?
Chewing it like a summer sausage, just
And you're like, "Ah!"
yeah.
But
Shaking your head like a pit bull with
they
a
took that
4-year-old in its
and ran
jaws.
with it, and from in my opinion, ruined it, and it's gotten a lot of more people to become, what's the word,
Ooh.
Coomers.
So that is the hipster take on things, but unfortunately, that is it. So, like, I was getting back. Let me just segue back to my long-winded tirade of the levels of weeb. So you had your commonplace, the My Hero Academia, the the Dragon Ball enjoyers, that's commonplace. That's very entry level. And then you got your seasonal weebs. They like only watching the new stuff every single season. Every winter, summer, whatever, there's a new set of shows that shows up and people have their favorite genres. They only watch that. They don't go back to see old classics. They only watch the new and current things. For a while I was that myself. And the problem with those new and current ones, they very much have that whole cliched sex sells beach episode or onsen episode. Oh, look, they're showing them lewdly, but oh, there's convenient steam. And that appeals to mostly single guys because they're hormonal.
So you're targeting an audience that you know makes money, and urging them to this sort of Coomer mentality to just consume.
Yep.
So it becomes comfort.
Yep. Most people tell you two shows. Ugh, sorry, just got off
You're all
work,
good.
so
Yeah.
I am mentally jumbled. There's two shows that can be credited to a majority of people's entrance to the whatever the fuck consumerism that you're going for.
Consumerism.
Yes. High School DxD, which has a lot of titties just flopping around everywhere, and To Love Rue, and those are just very much accidentally tripped, pulled down the pants type shenanigans or
If that's
whatever.
the whole theme of the cartoon, just go watch porn or hentai. I thought that was the whole purpose of hentai.
Exactly, but for some reason it's a train wreck and you can't pull yourself away from it because it's just so bad, but at the same time it's so good.
I'd rather
It's
light it on fire. But the thing is, you can't sell porn, so you sell porn.
yeah.
So,
There's
and what I
actually a lot
mean,
of
let me clarify.
strict law.
Let me
Yeah, go
clarify
for it.
what I said. What I mean is that I can't sell porn, so I'm going to sell porn disguised as a show by getting
Yep.
around these censors.
Oh yes, that was the next thing I was going to touch on is that
When it
Japan
comes
is
to
very
so
conservative.
there are things that the ESRBs like for video games, the ESRB, the TV guide systems like TV PG, TVG, TVY7, and all that. There are certain check marks they have to check in order to deem it the rating that it deserves. The more graphic the rating is, the less of a broader audience you can achieve. The best safe one would be TVPG or TVG, is the one that reaches all audience. Back in the days of cable, excuse me. Back in the days of cable, people wanted to land their shows between TVPG Or if they really wanted to do like a comedy thing, comedy things were always really reliant on TVMA because you couldn't really be funny without having to be pushing boundaries and risking shit. The
Oh yeah.
TVMA was very specific, but if it got popular, and all comedies seemed to be in that genre for the most
You
part.
got your TV 14 sometimes.
Sometimes that was a unique special case in my opinion. And that only happened when you have a TV running.
Yeah, like Malcolm in the Middle, I think was TV 14.
I would say TV PG.
No, they showed the cast kind of nude sometimes. I don't think they could get away with TV PG on some of
And
that.
nudity is I think TV PG, like butt,
Mm.
like a butt.
Oh
PG
yeah,
nudity, like a butt. I mean, you have baby shows where they change diapers.
yeah, that's true. I
So
guess.
boy butts and man butts aren't really seen sexual.
No.
So the point what I'm trying to wrap around is, in order to get around the censors, they had to do these things. So what they have done, in my opinion, for anime is all of its hentai just neatly covered up.
Not all of it, but we'll debate that later.
But the general idea, and that's what I'm arguing.
So the general appeal of it these days, yes, there are still some stragglers that have some great story and some great appealing art, but those are far and few in between. Most people will argue the height and the pinnacle of that was mostly anything to do with My Neighbor Totoro and all that by what's his name,
Studio Ghibli.
Miyazaki. Yeah, Studio Ghibli, Miyazaki, that guy. The guy that was quoted to say anime was a mistake.
He did?
I think so. Or that's a meme. Either way, I could
Maybe.
believe it.
If that's the case, he seemed to be like the Don Blue, who's the guy who made the Thief and the Cobbler. He was an animator that had such respect in the industry to the point where he started revolutionizing the animation. He helped make Roger Rabbit.
Oh,
Sort of
he was
animation.
basically like the Sega video games back in the day.
Oh, not even that. Not even. It would be like mainstream Nintendo.
Well, I
He
mean
was that
the
good. He worked for Disney, and he developed and helped animation on a whole evolve.
oh yeah, Disney back in the day when it was actually centered around animation was the king of that for good reason. They had great animation, but that's a different thing. I'd like to argue some other time.
Right. To move it back with anime drawing inspiration from Western anime, Disney and stuff like that specifically. The way they've turned it into nowadays, I see it as overall a bad thing. I
Eh,
think it draws young men who have ideas about like how reality is, and then they get corrupted by thinking anything from this hentai drawn as regular shows is like something that's standard for art and animation when it shouldn't be. I don't want to turn on a cartoon and the main focus and the main draw is crack cocaine, titties, and butts. By all means, if you're a grown man, do what you want, but for cartoons, to me, need to be art,
yeah,
not just sex appeal. And the main thing I always get and from people who argue is they're more defensive of the idea of this waifu. Like, I understand completely the waifu thing being taken away from somebody saying, "Hey, maybe you should have a good story and have good characters to be attached to first, and then draw the ass into it."
yeah,
I mean, it's not like you know Western animations are any better. No, I mean just look at Heavy Metal. That was brutal as
yeah,
fuck. That was just designed for that sort of thing. And I'm like, okay, cool.
yeah. So to kind of play off the whole waifu thing, I actually have never really found the appeal in that. There's characters I like, but the whole stereotype is that there's some guy that dedicates his entire existence to one fictional character. I never could understand that. There's so many shows, there's so many appealing characters. If I could get like some merchandise, I don't know, maybe a poster or something of one that I really like,
Would you say
sure.
it's
But
personal? At that point, it's personal. Fuck reality. This is it. I completely
yes.
understand that. I
So
completely understand.
yes, you touched on this, and I have to just clarify this. This is the difference between old weebs and new weebs. Old weebs, older anime was purely escapism. There was a terrible time in their lives or something, and they just wanted to escape from reality, and that was nearby. These days, it's more or less like sports teams, I'd say. You know, you got people saying, "Oh, I like this character," and then they walk around with a T-shirt with the character's face emblazoned on it.
Yeah,
That's
that's good.
yeah. So, and there's been a weird paradigm and shift in popularity with anime because way back when, hell, even just 5 years ago, honestly, you couldn't openly talk about that. That was like basically marking yourself as a social outcast, as just one of those degenerates that spanks it all day long. To pictures of Hatsune Miku or something. And these days, you have people walking around buying figures in the mall. They like you go to that box lunch store, they have those figures just on sale there, right next to Winnie the Pooh shirts you can buy.
Oh, as long as I'm around, I'm gonna start keeping it like it was 5 years ago.
Yep.
Nerd. Toss them in a locker.
So there's just a wide difference, but that's been mixed with the entry level, the barely into it, like more as like a side hobby, like anime enthusiasts,
Look,
weebs,
I
whatever you
want to
want to
make
call
it
them.
clear to everybody. Like what you want to like. Be a fan of
No.
what you want to be a fan of. Me, the way I see it, on a majority scale, anime. The reason why I can't is because it was. If it was really good and it was really what's I'm trying to say? What I'm trying to say is that at the beginning, it was an artistic, amazing masterpiece being created one after another. And then they sold that for fan service and trying to appeal to the, the majority of people. When I think it should have stayed as these amazing masterpieces, with amazing shows. Yes,
Ah, yes, the
it's
Frieza saga was such a riveting thing to experience.
it was smuggy.
Careful there, you're gonna get demonetized.
Just quoting Frieza.
Oh
That's the
yeah. Broly, look.
I remember I convinced you.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
Anyway,
I convinced you that that
but even
RoboCop scene
Dragon
was
Ball Z
real,
is super is horrible now. Like the movies are all right. I want to go see the new one with
and
Gohan. I
that's
hope
where
that's
you
good.
go with modern advertising and modern business. Video games used to be more niche and used to have a lot of uniqueness and be very fun because they had something to offer. Now they're generalized. You have your battle royales and almost everything, and they just feel generic because they're churned out in 3 months until the next one comes out, and people are looking forward to it like the next Call of Duty.
I mean, I think that is so like
And
they have $1 billion. Where's it all going? Well, I would say it's diversity quotas and
it,
HR.
I would actually say executives diversity quotas. HR, they get
Yeah.
paid probably just as much as regular people
Oh,
do, but
they get paid
they
a shit
get a
ton.
lot of bonuses
Well, that's I mean, why be
for
a
not
guy
doing a
who's
whole
going
lot of
to
work.
do 72 to 80 hours a week grind on a game of his passion when the majority of the money's not even going to go to the people who made the game. It's going to go
Oh
to
yeah.
that. So you cut corners, you accept the lowest end, the bottom of the barrel sort of equipment, gear, stuff. What does it matter? There's no incentive, and when there's no incentives, there's no production.
Yep, and that's the same
It's
with animation and anime.
me. I think it's doing more harm than good.
Yeah. Now, something I want to touch on a little personally myself is that I'm Slavic by nature, and I grew up with cartoons actually being a large bit of my childhood because, well, not everyone has a good childhood, right? You got those VHSs with all sorts of cartoons, and mine were these
Shoe and
old Russian
shoelace. One is useless
cartoons.
without the other.
Exactly. Now, I've actually noticed a trend with most Slavic people my age is that they become either massive turbo weebs or else. And else is other degeneracy that I don't really feel like talking about right now.
I don't. Well,
I'll
here's the
just say
thing.
they enjoy their furry friends a little too much.
I want to
And
go back to a point where it's like you can consume whatever you want. You're a grown adult.
Yeah.
Just be aware of what you're consuming. If you're just watching anime to think that you have some sort of relationship with the character personally and you're a
Ooh,
self
yeah.
insert, okay, that's fine. Is it a good story? Is it a quality animation? Is it quality this? Is it good for you? Do you have a. Is it good? Is it good quality? Is it good animation? Is it good story? Is it good characters? Is it. Make sure you know, like, if you're going to do that, make sure it's good for you when it comes to that. Like, make you have beautiful animation. I mean, the animation, it seems to be standard, is bright and in my eyes. It's like the meme, my eyes, every time I see a scene from an anime.
Yeah.
Now people
And
argue
that's
Demon
where
Slayer is like
cutting
the new Dragon
corners
Ball
is.
Z. From Sir Yedis, who I was on his show the other day, he said
Hmm.
Demon Slayer is the new Dragon Ball Z, and I want to fight.
It kind of has become in the form of its popularity, honestly. I tried getting into it. I really couldn't stand it. I didn't understand it, and they lost me at the final demon boss that looks exactly like Michael Jackson. I couldn't take it seriously anymore.
You know you're in trouble with Michael Jackson's screen.
Yeah, yeah. So I just couldn't get into it, and I was just surprised like how much it blew up. Like the little fight scenes where they animate water coming off of the dude's sword or whatever looks pretty cool, I guess, but
Well, it's something new and it's something stylish, and it cemented its own
very
style,
stylized. Yeah,
and that's what I'm talking about. Like, that is quality. Okay,
Dragon
what's
Ball
the
Z's
story though?
success
What's the story?
cemented a lot.
Story of Demon Slayer. It's like demons played.
All right, so let me just try and boil down the first season, I guess. Demons exist. This is
No,
taking place in feudal Japan.
no.
Some dude and his family. The dad is gone mysteriously, so it's just the mom, the kids, and
Had to do a
the
dance off with
whatever.
Michael Jackson.
Yeah, and the oldest brother, I guess, chops wood or something and goes into the city and sells it for firewood and makes money enough to feed them all. And then one day he comes home and everybody's dead, but his little sister's alive, but she was bitten by the demon. And demons, I guess, are like vampires if they survive. So he somehow, unheard of, convinced his sister to not kill and eat him and shoved a bamboo stick in her
Rub himself with
face.
garlic or something.
I It's a weird show.
Okay.
So he snuck her around and then he found some dude because he swore revenge and he wanted to become one of these coveted demon slayers that like uh
That
well
hunts these
just
demons.
yeah, basically it's you could the demons you could interchangeably say vampire, honestly. That's how loosely it
Now, is
is.
there fan service? Are there ass and tits in your face 24/7 or every other scene?
No, actually, in the
Okay.
first beginning of it, as far as I know, it actually had a good story. That's what captivated it. And then, like, he has a whole training montage. Somehow he gets superpowers through the sense of smell.
It seems
Uh,
like that and Attack on Titan have done well because they have the interesting premise, the interesting story. There isn't ass and titties in your face, and they have a grim, dark story being told.
yep,
That's what I'm talking about. That's the quality that we need to be looking for. If you want to have cake and sugar and eat all that for your eyes, by all means, I can't stop you. I'm just saying, like, I don't think that's good for you, and you're going to become a consumer and become a
yep,
coomer, and you're going to allow your brain to turn into cum, basically, because
yep,
the people who recommended me anime, why I've had such a resistance to it, are those kinds of people. And I imagine on a whole, like, it sounds like this is what it turns into, is this sort of
mm,
consumer. So I've been super very careful with watching anime. I would love to watch Demon Slayer now, as long as it's dubbed, not subbed.
they have dubbed. No
All right,
worries.
perfect. I
Yes.
mean, one of the other animes that you showed me when we were living together is Psyche K. That was fantastic and funny as all
Oh,
hell.
one of my all-time favorites.
It
I
was
love
so
that.
bizarre.
And
That comedy
Nichijou.
was
That
the delinquents, the middle school delinquents that were all drawn like super buff college students,
oh yes, what was that one called? Something High or whatever.
something
Or
like that.
like yeah.
But that the
Uh,
comedy seemed to hit it off very well.
I very much am a filthy casual, and I enjoy the comedy animes more than anything. Which the comedy animes typically are the ones that are fan service heavy that you express
Well,
disdain for.
you could weed out and find a few gems like Seiki K in the middle school dueling. That one was one of my favorites.
Yeah.
But it's
There
like
was actually a show that was famous for making fun of all those degenerate, uh, whatever fan servicey
Isn't it
animes known
meta?
as Pop Team Epic. It really is, actually.
Epic.
Yeah, you've probably seen them. They put like these cutesy, chibi looking anime schoolgirls,
Oh
but
yeah, yes.
they're
It's
voiced
like
by adult men.
yeah, anthology of like certain skits like Eric Andre show.
Exactly. That spawned a whole genre of just people getting fed up with the industry because once again, it's an industry. You're having a problem with the industry because a lot of people are, yes, consumers.
But it's a numbers game at that point. Because
It
who's
is.
gonna give the most money? The cooms or the people who want quality? Of course, the consumers, because they outnumber you 60,000 to 1.
Yep.
So,
And they have a lot more free time because they're degenerates that don't have a full-time job.
or they're starving for
Attention.
female companionship, and they can't get it here in the West.
I would just say a companionship of any kind.
I don't know. They seem to gather in groups a lot of the time and go to conventions without any deodorant. Oh, that's just a stereotype.
Yeah, and that's actually just Yu-Gi-Oh tournaments, but still.
Come on. Are you talking about the guy who literally made himself a bioweapon to get the other person to quit?
The reason they have a showering clause in the tournament rules. I mean, you gotta respect the people that be the reason that there is a rule made up in something.
And with a rule like cleanliness, no, I will not respect you. That's the sort of thing that's just like I might as well go face to face with nerds.
Yes. The Great Unclean One. That would actually be a good Yu-Gi-Oh card. I wonder if they've did a cross promotion with Yu-Gi-Oh and 40K. That would actually get me interested in that card game again. Nonetheless, let's segue back to the topic at hand. Why is anime CUMFORT? Why is it CUMFORT? Yes.
Well,
Why is it comfortable?
let us use an analogy that happened a bit ago back when we were in high school. Bronies.
Oh yes, that whole fad that happened 13 years ago.
Why did we that healing? And there was no fan service. It was a kid show.
Yes.
I think it perfectly captured the reason why we chase femininity, the personality types, the simplicities, um, the colorful and yet intriguing storylines that were developed for that entire series. We saw characters that acted and responded nice and sweet and caring. For the entire time growing up, what women do us? Shrieking banshees that wanted
Speaking from
they've
experience.
gotten worse over time. What was our comfort and what was the idea that we wanted matched? We wanted that soft femininity that was robbed from us, that was taken from us. We could only find it again through that. And this is why the anime industry has capitalized on it and has turned it and corrupted it and turned it into nothing but ass and titties.
Yep.
Much like I would argue the African American or the black community when it came to rap, which was rhythm and poetry.
It was a way of venting out frustrations on social structures, and then it turned very popular, and then it turned very marketed. And here again lies the idea with big industry and how it just stomps on everything just to churn out soulless products that people consume. So what you're seeing is what happened with rap, what happened with movies, what happened with TV shows, what happened with animation, what happened with food even in America.
This is
About 90% of what we consume
right now too.
What we consume is artificial, plasticky crap. Food, animation, media, music, even clothing. Everything is just so mass produced and so soulless because it's the idea of a numbers game. Churn out as much as possible, inflate the numbers, make as much profit. Nothing has any quality in it anymore. Nothing has any care taken into the craftsmanship of it anymore.
Exactly. I mean, Steven Universe is a crappy show, stupid, retarded show. It's one of the worst shows out there. The only reason I like it is because of Paradox. That's it.
Oh, I only liked it because of that one voice line they had, that one kid screaming involving marriage and
No,
race.
that wasn't even further canonized of the show, but it might as well be. Rebecca Sugar's a psychopath.
The fact that they put that on publicized TV just
like all gems are bi or gay. I'm like, nah, they all like big fat green cocks. My uncle works at the Cartoon Network. He told me.
Trust me, my uncle works there.
No.
Yeah.
You can take the good out of the bad, but if the good is like a part, that isn't worth the effort.
Yeah, we're experiencing a collapse of culture right now.
Oh, yeah, it's been there's no incentive.
How long has it been since you've truly enjoyed a TV show or truly enjoyed a video game?
Years.
Yeah, because it's all been mass produced, churned out to be
repeated.
Yes. Yeah, there's reboot. We're in the age of reboots because they can't figure out how to make anything interesting.
Game I played is Pizza Tower.
Mass Effect Andromeda.
No, you keep that filthy title out of your mouth when you speak to me, young man.
I actually gifted you a copy the other day.
I'm gonna gift it back to you in your sleep by shoving it underneath your foreskin.
You can't do that digitally.
I'm gonna find a way.
I win. And you can't refuse them on Xbox. It's just yours forever now.
I'm gonna take the hard drive out of my Xbox and shove it down your piss.
It has stained your account forever
Keep
and ever.
That crap away from me.
I love that T-Rex fight, honestly. I try to only play that just to spite you, and
you
could barely stomach.
Yeah, you could barely get to it. It's not worth it. You've invested time.
I ironically played it. I just wanted to see if there was any Geth, and I was disappointed because there never was.
There isn't any Geth.
I wanted my flashlight Bionicle cool aliens back.
Back to the point on topic. Why is anime comfort to normies? Because it is a mass production of ass and tits in order to sell the majority and the bare minimum of quality content to everybody around us. To keep them sedated, to not fight back, basically. This goes back to our original point when we were talking about the state of porn being banned in Utah.
Oh, yeah, that.
As far as I'm concerned, I haven't heard any major news, but I don't think we're going to if it's kept under wraps. I think a majority of the churchgoers, though, a lot of shit's happening in the churches, stakes and stuff like that. A lot of a lot of sexual frustrations building up, I can imagine.
Oh, and there's been a whole lot of people that have been taken up by this video sponsor, NordVPN. I'm just kidding.
Gonna get Chaz in here in order to say it. Chaz Autism.
Yes, get his. Is that actually his discount code? drop a link for him.
He's not popular enough to get a sponsorship.
Or the other one, Gamer Subs, where you can get totally socially acceptable bottles to drink.
That's what I'm talking about. I'm sick and tired of seeing anime titties and ass everywhere.
Oh. To quote the character of Senran Kagura, one of my favorite shameless shows, tits is life, ass is hometown. He literally said that because he barely knew English. Yeah, I bought one of the video games and it had that quoted, and I was like, "Is that real?" And it's apparently real.
Hey, yeah, this is just proving my point. A lot of cum brains are walking the streets.
Yeah,
look,
I enjoy the ironicness of it.
I'm not trying to shame guys for liking ass and tits, not at all. No, I'm just there's so much of it. When is enough? When's it enough? When you're ass deep or neck high of all these ass and titties, is that it? Just like there's got to be a limit.
Until you're elbow deep. No, I'm just kidding.
Again, I don't want to be like sound like, oh, you should be ashamed. It's like when is it enough?
Well, if you want to ever never see it, just never go online. Shut yourself off the grid.
Yeah, there you go. go. That's the only saving grace I have. So I have no choice but to accept it.
Go live in the mountains. Go eat berries and
Oh, I would, but the
mushrooms.
ATF might come shoot my metaphorical dog. Like
Oh yeah.
they come up, they show up. What are you doing? I'm like, nothing.
He's
Where's the
got an
dog?
illegal sharpened stick.
Where's his dog? I don't have a dog. Oh, they bring out like this nice puppy. They walk it up to me and they make me sign adoption papers, and then they shoot it right in front of me.
No. First, you go through a montage of first being cold to the dog, and then you slowly accept it, and you go through this whole process, and you raise it, and then they knock on the door, and they solemnly nod, and
Slow
you
motion as the
sigh.
dog.
You bring out this old dog, this all weathered. It's the same puppy they gave you, and they just mercilessly shoot it in front of you, and then you cry.
I love to see that in anime. That'd be fun.
Oh, there you would see that in Psyche K, which is
Yeah,
why I love that
probably
show.
Psyche K. Yeah, definitely.
Or one of my other favorites, Gintama. That is considered, I guess, loosely the Family Guy of Japan. And actually, let me touch on this. So, when you think Japanese television, does the whole game show thing pop in your head,
Oh yeah,
right?
definitely. I remember MXC.
So that's actually just called Hideki's Castle. That is only just one TV show that ran for I don't know,
Right, and
5
it was
seasons.
ported over here in America. Like a lot of stuff from Japanese stuff was so like a bizarre that they had like Spike TV adapt and do their own dubs and shove them over.
Here's the crazy thing. I'm not even done with this point yet. That's not actual Japanese TV. That was one show. Most Japanese television is just very polite, respectful, reviews of things. They have people sipping tea of someone's product and they're like, "Oh, that's really good. Here, you should try some. Oh, that's delicious." And they just showcase famous restaurants and people flock to those restaurants because they saw it on TV. It's actually very stale and generic and sanitized, I would call it.
A
I
ghost
saw some
shop
of that.
says in the chat, the bigger the tatas, the stronger the female character.
Yes, that's true in the case of that one where
I'm
they
never gonna say no to tits. I will say no to if the tits are like you can fit another human being in it. And I'm like, this is ridiculous. When they're
hey, that's shaming.
ridiculous,
That's kink shaming certain
oh,
members of your
get ready for a
audience.
whole bucket of shame because guess what? You're talking to Cyrus McCormick. And when
Now
I'm
make
not
sure to
pushing
dull
no,
that shame with
no,
no, go ahead.
it goes into the barrier of inflation, and I hate that. I hate that so
Because there's
much.
no hedgehog
It's
involved.
disgusting to me. We have like inflated giant ass and tits, and I'm just like, oh, why
As
would
long as
anybody
there isn't a
find that
hedgehog.
attractive? Shut the fuck up! Stop trying to bring Sonic into this. We're not doing this. We're not doing this today, Louis. I know we haven't talked in a while. God, can't just walk into here. My show. Start talking about Sonic.
I'm not gonna bring it up,
It's
but
actually
I will
delightful.
not stop until you finally admit what the thing I want you to say
What,
is.
his color of his arms?
Yes.
What was his original design, Louis?
I don't know. You tell me. You're the Sonic fan. Oh, Sonic. Doesn't that hail from Japan as well?
Yes. Sega. Sega of Japan.
All right.
Invented
I will
Nintendo.
I will actually Google this Sonic original arm
It
color.
was called like something Needle Mouse. And it was an actual hedgehog. Sorry, the picture keeps going up and down. I've been tabbing out by accident.
Whoa.
Fuck.
They actually have different box art covers with different colored arms.
Look, why? The only reason you bring up the arms is because of Christopher Western Chandler, or Sap, who is a perfect example of a comfort consumer.
Oh no! I found cringe fan art. There's Sonic. There's Sonic mad, and there's Tails pregnant with Amy.
Okay, don't send it to me. Don't fucking send that to me. This is what I'm talking about.
It's like it was drawn in MS Paint.
Dear Lord and High, please protect me and my eyes.
Sorry, you're getting this. Maxra's default. It's like 600 pixels.
Of the video game of Sonic 1, the first game. What were they? They were the same as his stomach.
Oh, that's so
obsessed with me admitting that.
I don't know. I think it's because you're so adamant that you would not bring it up on stream. So now that it's done, I have fulfilled my purpose. I can disappear like a force ghost into the ether.
Not yet, you bastard. I need to talk more about anime.
Quickly give your opinion on this artist's rendition of, of Sonic and Tails in their
Now,
predicament.
what would you say it has a bigger library of images? Um, only
Uh,
what real life women or hentai?
well, okay. So real life women, they like to take photos of themselves, not once, but like hundreds of times, and then they delete them and then they take photos. They're very vain creatures sometimes.
Not sometimes, always.
I don't like to speak in absolutes, but yes, I agree
So you
with
tell
that
I'm a Sith.
tendency. So, on the other side, you have people that have way too much time on their hands, and sometimes they don't need both hands to draw. So, it's really hard to say, but I would actually say that anime's only been around for like the last 40, 50 years, but people have only been drawing lewds of it for the last like 30 years, I'd say.
Oh, as soon as anything was drawn back then, it was already porn. Like the whole
Yep.
furry thing started back in the 70s.
Really?
Yeah, people and animators and cartoonists would get together in these hotels and stuff, and they would jokingly draw their characters that they were drawing nude and having sex. It's been around since, I would argue, the dawn of time.
You know what? That's probably true. There's probably like some ancient Greek version of that.
It
You
probably
know,
is, yeah,
you got the little sleazer guy sticking his dong in the pizza or something.
probably. But like the rule exists, 34, this point of everything, and I would say rule probably 68 would be there has been point of everything.
Ah, and I was gonna argue maybe Egyptian hieroglyphics are just straight up porn, and we just never translated that correctly.
I think we translated enough to be like, oh, they worship demons as gods. Huh.
Oh no, it was
False
cats. It
deities.
was cats this whole time.
Cats. Circles back to the cat argument or the cat statement that the yeah. When do you think that occurred? Because it seemed like there was a shift when Toonami started importing the anime or
I would
Japanimation
actually
says
say when it started getting more commercialized, actually, because like one big one would be Yu-Gi-Oh and Pokemon. Those animes were very popular, and they
oh yeah,
started kind of
Pokemon
bringing
would
that.
kicked it off. The
And
card
if
game,
anything,
the anime, Jelly Donuts, Brock, you lying son of a bitch.
yeah, the drying pan.
You damn closed eye motherfucker.
It's actually gotten to the point where Pokemon is worth more than Disney in all of its necessity. Just Pokemon alone. Nintendo owns many IPs, but Pokemon,
Stick it to the
with
rabbit.
its low effort games, I am a avid Pokemon, and I can say low effort games. The cards that they mass
And this,
produce or
yeah, it's
whatever.
such a mass icon of consumerism. And I would you say it would be fair to compare that to the anime industry, where it started off very much with a lot of quality and RPG elements and a lot of stuff that you originally enjoyed. Now it's become appealed to the bottom denominator.
It is 100% just a numbers game at this point.
And here's the thing: the bottom of the denominator, there is no end to that. So
Nope.
the most it's going to just keep hitting going down because it's bottomless.
Mm-hmm.
It only stops when you everybody has had enough and and a person's own standards are implemented. I think when it comes to anime, on whole, generally speaking, people don't have standards for quality to enjoy. Yes, you have quality. Yes, there are, but it's not the main staple. I wish it was. I wish I could just pick up a random anime show and enjoy it, but I can't. I have to fight, dig, and even then, with my own personal taste, because of my ears, the way sounds, I have to do dubbed. And even then, like you said, it's not that good quality. People are like, "Oh, oh no, don't do that." They sound like Willy Wonka when he's like, "Oh, please, no, stop."
No, please stop. That is 100% how the lack of what do you call passion in the voice acting just feels so off. And at first, I did also feel a bit annoyed by the cutesy anime voices, but then eventually I kind of got over it. Um,
I
I
can't. I can't
don't
do it.
know when. That's totally fine. I know you have your tonal hearing problems, your hard of hearing, and the high pitched maybe sounds more annoying to you.
Hey, everybody in the chat, is the audio okay? Are we coming in through? Is the music in the background not too loud? Just let us know. I know there's 3 people watching. It says there are, unless those are just 2 more Louis.
Well, yes, I'm psyoping you into thinking you're actually a VTuber.
Not a VTuber.
Fair enough.
I guess I'm even worse. I'm a PNG too. Apparently, that's the thing. I'm just like, look, I just wanted a character to react to what I say. That's it.
Oh, that's fine.
Make it
Yeah.
entertaining. Uh,
Yeah.
so what do you think is going to be for the future of this sort of like bottom of the barrel appealing to when it comes to anime? Do you think it's going to hit a point where they're just going to show straight up porn with the way society has become so disgusting?
Oh, let's see. Oh, I got a channel. Sorry, I got distracted. Your voice is apparently low and mine is loud.
Okay,
You got to do some EQ settings there.
something.
Yeah, and I guess I'll rant about the future of anime and consumerism. We're gonna probably turn into some sort of.
Hello. All right,
I hear you loud and clear.
go ahead.
Some sort of corporate, I would say, society in the future, because I mean, corporations already have enough control of our lives as it is. You can't say something in front of your phone without getting barraged with ads, and there's all this psychology that goes behind it that is manipulating your choices. If it's free, chances are you are the product. So
Okay. So
with that in mind, the taste of anime is probably just going to get worse and worse, more and more bland, more and more generic. Nothing is special. The premise is like there's something called isekai animes now, and there was a couple of shows that really stood out because they were the first ones to explore that genre. Specifically, looking at what was it? Oh shoot, I'm a little tired, so I'm having a hard time
you're all
recalling
good, Louis.
names. Yeah. Sword Art Online was one of the hugest ones because it was one of the first, and people really liked it, and it had a good premise. But then the character got very Mary Sue-esque because it was, again, a form of escapism. And then you started seeing a mad dash of everyone releasing isekais, and then over the next 2 years, the whole market got saturated with that. And that's where you see this style of approach of just something hits, all right, everybody, write exactly like that. Oh, what's this? It's an isekai, but this guy is a literal refrigerator in someone's house. Yeah, we'll do that. Oh, this guy's a literal sword. We'll do that. Oh, this guy is a girl now. We'll do
A
that.
literal sword.
There is actually one, and he's a sentient sword, and he has a cat girl that wields him.
Okay.
It's actually more wholesome than you think it is, so it's actually somewhat interesting. But they all kind of snowball into the point where it's not interesting because they're so overpowered and nothing really like
Isn't that why One Punch Man was popular, because it started making fun of that idea?
a One Punch Man specifically was making fun of superheroes and isekais. So yes.
Okay. DMM Destroyer says these companies needed innovation to survive in the 80s and 90s. That's when they allowed creators to do their thing without restriction. Once they got things that made money, they pushed out the innovators. Exactly like the same way it happened to the video game market. And it sounds like this is a combination of everything's kind of tied to each other due to capitalism and all that. And capitalism is never going to be something I'm going to see as something bad. It is the response to a economy. What I think it is, the economy is being degenerate. That's the economy, is degenerative. So
Hmm.
you have to appeal to degeneracy.
Yes, we're gonna soon stop having dollar bills and just printed feet pics.
Well, dude, think about it. You have a feet pic of a YouTuber, that's probably worth thousands and thousands of dollars.
If you can get a photo of Markiplier's feet, send them so I can pay off my house.
I thought ahead and had Gray generate fake pics of his avatar and Manic's avatar waifus just for the as a joke, but it might be actual worth money.
One day it
Seriously,
will.
I, it's how do I say this? It's
It,
capitalism is a tool, much like a gun is.
yep. It's dangerous in the wrong hands.
I say it's the response. It's a very advanced tool, a very advanced tool that can sway opinions. It could do a whole lot. Um, and now it's being wielded by weak men who just want to consume. Come. It's just come this, come that. And this is my response to it is no, enough is enough. I don't want to hear about oh senpai looked at my titties and ass. I better be at the sundere. I don't care.
Yamete kudasai.
I just want to
That stuff.
wrangle the neck and put my thumbs through their eyes and pull their head apart.
Yeah.
Because it makes me go furious because it's like I want inspiration. I want to feel like I can do shit in my life because my life is very difficult on a day-to-day basis being a white cis male.
Mm-hmm.
So I would love a story that doesn't pierce my eardrums and say, "Oh, look at all this ass and titties you can't get in real life." Like, where's the story? Where's the supplement? Where's the heroism? Where's the art?
Oh, look no further than Berserk.
I've been told to get into that, and I can see why.
It's actually a really good show. And Full Metal Alchemist is a good one. A lot of the ones that are considered the GOATs, like Death Note and all that, they actually have interesting premise. They have unique art styles, and this was way before everything started getting churned out to be product. They were selling a story. Now they're selling a product.
Yeah, it's a bland product. It has no flavor, it has no sustenance. You can't keep it up, and it's going to. The only people keeping it enabled are the comforts people, and
Yes.
unfortunately, they outrival you, 10,000 to 1.
Yeah, let's see. I agree with
So hopefully,
Goshawk over here. Before he wrote, yeah, a lot of shonen things. They like to. Again, this is industry, the wheels of industry
Am I a bit
saying,
louder
"Hey,
now?
that works."
Am I a
You're
bit
about the
loud?
same to me.
Okay. I just hope I'm coming through clear on the other end.
Here, let me pop in the stream and see. You know, hearing your own voice just kind of makes you feel uneasy, and I never understand how I hear my voice and then I hear other renditions of my voice and it sounds gravelly.
Right. It's kind of unnerving,
It
but you
really
get used to it.
is. Do
Okay,
you think
before Kubo wrote Bleach, this is by Goshak. Shorten Jump told him to emulate Dragon Ball Z. I kind of feel like they wanted a carbon copy. Fist of the North Star is recommended. The original series run. If you haven't seen it, Fist of the North Star.
both good shows?
Okay. If there's a dub, sure. But emulating and copying off of, yeah, that's it's unoriginal. But you can't stop it, and it's not about who did it first. It's about who did it better. That's what
Mm,
it always comes down to. At the bare minimum, at the very end of the day, which one was better quality? Let's say you develop a brush that can make your hair look very nice in one way, but then somebody made the brush in the same way, but it can make your hair look even better any way you want it.
yeah.
You may have done it first, but he did it better.
Uh,
But
loosely, that is a good idea, and then in art, that can be a terrible thing
oh yeah,
because
it's very scummy and stuff, but at the end of the day, which is going to be remembered, the quality or the one that was first.
yeah, that's
I mean,
fair.
by nature, we pick up the second iteration as not as good as the first because the first was so potent. This is where our brains get addicted.
Well, that explains why sequels to movies don't hit as hard.
That and the fact that it was ruined by Disney's straight to DVD sort of stuff that they did that turned out so much money.
I didn't even know that they had sequels to Aladdin or
They had 3,
Lion
and then a
King.
TV series.
Of Aladdin?
I believe so. Yeah.
I am
It
kind of
was Return of
surprised.
Jafar and then the Thieves, the King of
How
Thieves.
did they do that without the voice of the genie? I'm trying to
Oh,
remember
they
his
got
name.
the voice actor for Homer to do it. Robin Williams said, "Screw you, Disney," after they kind of did their thing to
Screwed
being a
him.
rat. Um,
Yeah, they heavily advertised it being Robin Williams as the lead of the show. He just wanted to voice act. He didn't want it to be by this because Robin Williams said so,
I think the only way
as
they
per his
convinced him was
contract.
because one of the animators animated one of his comedy bits, and he loved it so much he decided to give him a shot by letting them use it.
Yeah, I remember he was in some other show that he like voiced some bat or something. I remember this like a little while ago, seeing some other guys' breakdown of it. Pretty interesting
You have to
feud
understand,
they had.
Disney has never been a good company. It has been a profitable company. It has been a multi-billion-dollar franchise company. It's been good in the sense of getting money, but now they have all this power and they basically won humanity. What's next? Well, might as well destroy it for the fun of it.
You know what's funny is Pokemon's bigger than Disney.
Yeah. And Disney's just destroying itself and trying to manipulate as many kids as it can before it goes down in flames.
It's kind
Ah,
of sad because it had a lot of really good stuff and had the potential for even more.
well,
So
it's not.
it's
I don't think it had the potential. I think what it had was a respectable name, a respectable domain. When you're dead and buried, your legacy it needs to be what's left. I'm pretty sure Walt Disney, if he saw his legacy today, he would burn it all down
yeah. No,
instead
well,
of
I
having them
say that
enjoy.
as the fact that like Disney for a long time became like the name that people aspired to. Like actors flock to Hollywood to be a big star. Animators flock to Disney to make it big in the animation scene. Because outside of that, you were an animator. The only other prospect you had was to animate for TV shows, and back in those days, they were only made to sell toys to kids, like He-Man. Hell, in the art style of it, you can see the characters moving like the action figures would articulate.
I mean, there was one guy who loved Disney so much he when he was rejected, he kind of
What do you do?
come on, don't you know who?
I actually
No,
don't follow. Give me a hint.
okay. He was a he wanted to be a painter,
Hmm.
Austrian painter.
Oh,
Yeah,
he was a fan of Walt
he was
Disney.
a huge fan. He was inspired.
The guy that made Charlie Chaplin's mustache pretty
Illegal.
much illegal.
Yeah.
Because Charlie Chaplin was huge, and his mustache was like famous. And now, yeah. Well, goddamn.
Yeah. Oh man, poor.
Well, if
If
we
it
want
wasn't
to
a time
segue
lapse,
off,
I'm very curious about how that would have turned out better if the Disney wasn't such a bunch of snobs or.
yeah, can you imagine if they hired that guy into Disney?
Oh god, he probably would have made it big.
Well, he only painted backgrounds apparently, though.
Well, no, he was going into an art school, but he was inspired and was a fan of Walt Disney stuff.
Oh, a lot of people were
Oh
honestly
yeah,
because
definitely.
back then, with the style of like Snow White and all that, and Lion King. Lion King was more later, but
Well, Lion King was in the '90s, dude.
well, yes, yeah,
Snow
that's what I
White
was
was the
saying. But
very
even
first
even
one.
back then, they still had a lot of good hand drawn animation, and then
They
they
had
shied
the
away from that.
cells, they had the printing press, they had all that. They had the women that were hired there to do the colors because the women on average are better at coloring when it comes to filling in and being mass produced on that than men are. Men are really good at the design overall of keeping the lines fluid and doing the motions and stuff like that, like the
Oh yeah,
actual
women
background.
perceive color a lot better naturally. They
Naturally,
have
on
an art.
average, they were better at it, so they were used as the colorers. And you had a lot of stuff. You didn't just draw one frame. You draw so this one frame. This frame went over here to this printing press that got inked, and then the ink went over here to press it down, and then became a still. And it's like a whole freaking operation just to get a frame of animation in.
And then it started getting outsourced to other countries for pennies on the dollar for cell shading.
Basically, like that came in like I would say around the 80s, 90s.
And that's where we get into corporate greed in the last 30, 40 years that is just fucking everything up. Actually, 50 years,
It's
I gotta say.
it's no longer about greed, because if it was about greed, Louis, if they would just try to make all the money, not just indoctrinate and go out of their way. Did you hear recently about what uh Activision did?
Oh, didn't they?
They took away some guy's skin, his own operator's skin, out of the game because he said leave kids alone in response to Pride.
They took his skin out of the
His
game?
operator skin. He was a famous COD player who promoted the game.
Oh, that, yeah. No, they don't want the social backlash
That
because then
is
that wouldn't
not
market.
somebody who's greedy would be um F your pride and all that. The majority of people aren't gay. The majority of people aren't trans. The majority of people do make the money, so I want that. That would be greed. This is not greed. This is just pure evil. This is just corruption. This is emotions of
Yeah,
inclusivity and diversity, which is a
it
I
is
would
weird
say a
that,
female thing.
yeah, there is quite a reign of control that they try and get over people's psyches these
Okay,
days with
DM made
that.
a really good point here. He says corporations and government are not essentially the same. They work together, and we get to live in the madness. Yeah, the government has always been evil. I've never liked American government. Okay,
Mm,
as they were telling me one thing.
for our lifetimes, yes.
Oh yeah, yeah. I would say
Andrew
majority.
Jackson wouldn't let this stand.
Andrew Jackson's just a man.
Andrew
Who
Jackson
signed
killed the
he?
banks.
Yeah, should have. Didn't he? Didn't, because
No,
they
he
were
did
very
at the
at
time.
the time. But then people became weak. They invited evil in. Now we're living in
Yep,
very evil times. Can't just
yep.
be good and strong once. It has to be a continuous thing.
Yeah, but evil will outlive any person's lifetime.
But you train the next generation to make sure that it stays out.
So that's the point you're trying to make with the indoctrination they're doing with all this.
I think anime is comfort to normies because it sedates the fact that, hey, I don't have to have a good story as long as there's ass and tits. That's my standard. Like,
Hmm,
I think
I
with
could see
respect
that, yeah.
to the genre and advocating actually for quality of anime, you would want something better. Because
Yeah.
how many people do we know? It's just they make jokes about porn all the time. They make sex jokes. They do all that. Everything about them is about sex. It's annoying. It's just tiring, and it's quite
I
frankly
feel called
uninformative.
out, man.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
we take a break, we talk about serious stuff, we get engaged, but there's some people who just can't stop making a joke about anything when it comes to sex, and they think porn memes are funny. I don't think porn memes are
So
funny.
I actually have to agree with you that like a large majority of just anime these days is just consumerism as you call it. But there's still some gems that shine. Like the other season there was something called Spy X Family, and that had an interesting premise where there's some other setting where there's two Cold War-esque countries, and the spy goes over to another country, and his whole job is to investigate some really secretive guy, and he has to set up a fake family. And things get twisted. He
I saw the first
somehow,
episode.
yeah, he somehow adopts this psychic child, and then he uh, ends up fake marrying some assassin lady, and they all don't suspect each other of anything except for the psychic child. She just treats it all as some sort of fun TV show thing because she's living in a fantasy because, well, she's a child. And it has a lot of very believable and
I'm
the premise
okay
itself is
with the
interesting.
idea of showing a good father, masculine figure raising a daughter. I
Oh
like those
yeah,
stories. That's what's missing. There
it's
are no
actually
fathers
really
anymore.
good. Lloyd is a fantastic father figure.
Right,
Like at first he
that
was only
person.
doing it for the cover story, but then he actually shows
And
moments
those
of
do very
genuinely
well. I
caring
wonder why. Because you're showing what a father brings, what a father is essential to life.
and
Not just
good story.
you don't. It's not a oh you can live without. No, can't. literally physically you cannot live without a father.
Mm.
Because you need, first off, I'm talking on like a biological lead, you need the sperm to be you.
Oh yeah,
Basically.
yeah.
So
They
as
they
far as
have
I'm
they
concerned,
haven't outsourced that
men
to
are the
other
carriers of
countries
life,
yet.
as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
So showing good fathers is, I think, needs to be shown.
I
Fuck
would
Disney killing
actually
off every
say,
father figure because they don't want you to have one. Like,
well,
kill the
they kill
father.
off both parents usually.
Kill the
They have
father
so many
mostly.
orphans. They have so
Mostly
many
kill the father.
orphans.
That's been their majority, because you get rid of the father, you're guaranteed to have a son who's going to end up more in jail, and we get into a whole spin of single mother households that right and kill the entirety of them.
Oh yeah, there's a
DM
large
says,
amount.
yeah, we all were born into the end of it. Pre 2001 was the last glimpse of the American dream. Feel bad for anyone born late, 90s onward. The chaos is all they have known. In chaos breeds destruction and fall. We are falling. We are in free fall right now. Who
I
knows until
gotta
we hit the
agree.
bottom? How far we've built up now? It's in free. People are like, "Oh, you need to step up and save." No, I'm not stepping up anything. There is no incentive for. Well, we're gonna draft you anyway. Well, looks like the enemy has a new recruit because I'm going to defect. It's like, don't
Yeah,
put me in your war. I would rather go to jail.
it's kind of
How
crazy
about this?
how
How about this? I'll do what Chronic argues for. Give me a virgin wife and acres of land, and I'll gladly die for your country.
uh
That's a reason to invest, because I can make a family, a legacy, and have my own land.
yeah.
I don't want money. Money means nothing.
Yeah, it pretty much is just a number these days.
Yep.
Money lost meaning millions ago.
I want an investment of life. So that would be my argument. It seems like nowadays, especially when it pertains to anime, we need more Spy X families.
Yeah,
We need more of that. That I would argue we need more of that. We need more
and
Attack on
it's
Titans, more One
why
Punch Mans. Stop it with the
lately
ass and titties.
I'm trying to defend myself and my taste here, man. I don't even really get into those ass and titty shows anymore. There's actually a coworker of mine. I'll just leave him at so and so. He is one of those consumers that was openly in public just shouting about how he liked this show years ago, and I just kind of laughed in a bit of nostalgia, and I said, "Oh yeah, I used to watch that, but now I actually try and enjoy stories or shows for their stories, because there are some like Spy X Family. There's, let me see what else. I also like a lot of um, comedy ones. Like there's The Vampire Dies in No Time. I've been working my way through that. Konosuba is kind of a hit and hit for me. There's a lot of titties in that one, but there's a lot of humor in it. But it's very forgettable, and I honestly can't even remember what happens in a lot of it, just because it's so forgettable.
Yeah.
Uh,
The
but those
normies
shows
are.
I used to like, I just don't care for anymore. Like there's a season of In Another World with my smartphone, and it's just harem bait, and I just
Yeah, that's another thing I
it's
was gonna
not
ask.
it's not
What's with
appealing.
these harem baits? These everything that I see, it's like the main protagonist gets a harem. Like, what? Why is that a thing? Why are people saying that that's a thing about anime? I thought anime was about story and shit. I'm hearing about harem baits. What is this?
All
Game
right.
of Thrones bullshit?
Harem baits exist solely to appeal to people that are lonely. They have no one around them, usually for extended periods of time, and they like escaping and seeing a show where a guy is surrounded by countless
What, the
people that
center of
value
attention?
him. Yes,
Oh
that is
my
100% it.
god.
That is 100% it. Yeah.
I could
They're,
barely
they're,
stand one woman. Multiple? I would kill myself at the idea.
yeah,
But
there's a
I
whole bunch of
understand.
reality checks behind it, and it does not make any sense. But
I'm a high value man because I get a lot of women around me. Bull fucking
yeah,
shit. That's not what
that's
makes you
the
high
very
value.
thin logic behind it, and
No, I don't
I
like the
see that.
idea, the story that is being projected with that. I hate that I'm repulsed by that.
Yeah,
You're a high value man and you're a center of attention. You sound like a woman.
yep.
Sounds like
Well,
you're a woman.
Another one I liked that actually was a recent one is called Otaku Elf, and that one is the concept that there's a religion called Shinto in Japan where they have their own whatever religious culture, but there's an idea that some elf got magically isekai'd over here but has no concept of the outside world and is scared of everything, so she became a shut-in and is seen as a religious figure because she's inherently magical because she's an elf, but is too scared to go outside. And it's just silly funny how she just kind of went headfirst into the otaku stuff. It's kind of poking fun at the otaku culture itself.
I was just thinking about what I said about like harems were for like kings and emperors and men of renown, Nephilim, if you would be so inclined to say. What I'm
Yeah, it was
trying to
the
say is
idea
like
of bloodlines passing down.
lust in your head when you have multiple women. Okay, cool, but the idea of like being like what are the Mormons, polygamous, that sort
Yes.
of thing. I'm just like, why?
Oh, this
I
sounds very
personally
sexist of me.
can't think of why I would want more than one. That's me.
Yeah. I
Even
don't
if I was given
understand
the
it
opportunity, I
myself,
would
but
reject the idea because I just want one.
yeah. I agree with that. The only concept that I can think of from an outside perspective is that I've noticed one trend, and it's that women handle jealousy the way that a human being handles cyanide very terribly. And
Okay,
women compete with each other on every
it
level.
is a biological need to have the biggest and strongest baby with the biggest and strongest man. They are going to their base natural instincts, like we talked about before with Chaz back on the Utah porn thing. Okay,
Hmm.
they seek out and they're willing to share an alpha. Okay, this is why the top high percent of men earnings in the country have always you always hear they cheat on their wives.
Yep.
All these women are willing to share the man. That is to produce on a natural speaking source back in the day to make sure we had enough kids and to procreate the earth.
I'm
Now it's
gonna
more
actually disagree. It's not sharing. They're trying to steal from each other because they feel like they can come out on top.
the point is they are willing to go through with that. Men aren't doing that, going to do that. No matter how many
Yeah.
polyamorous relationships you see out there, like the one I heard recently, the guy like nearly killed the infant because they had no because men need to know what if their seed was passed on. They
Yeah.
need that insurance.
Whereas women, they
It's
obviously know that they're contributing.
they know that's their kid. It came out of them. They know they
Yeah.
don't have that.
They pull a
Could
sneaky on you and just kind of implant it with syringes.
right. You can't just pop the baby out like a freaking Titan from Titanfall. Doesn't
Yeah.
come out like a pilot and you can swap it or something. No, the
Pregnant
women
women
have
are
that
just meat
security.
mechs for
Men do not.
babies. Did you hear that?
No, what?
Pregnant women are meat mechs for babies.
Oh come on, shut the fuck up. That's so stupid. Next, you're gonna tell me
uh,
ice is just
hard water.
just hard water. It's just water refusing to walk.
Yeah, you're just gaslighting yourself now.
Trying to kill you. Oh
uh,
man, it's
no,
good
this
to
this
hear
is
from you.
this. Yeah, no, this topic really is more the psychology behind loneliness and degeneracy, honestly.
Mostly, I'm
And if you
arguing
want to, if you want to get
degeneracy.
to, yeah,
Degeneracy.
this is just the people just skirting the edge of degeneracy. The people that actually delve into the degeneracy, the ones that go into those visual novels that are erotic, or the hentai. Can I even say that, or can I say
Yeah,
H anime?
just
Okay,
say hentai.
hentai. Yeah, I'm not sure if that's the naughty word list or not.
What does it
So
matter at this point? Real quick, DM says, unfortunately, we are among the few. This chaos is accepted as normal by the rest. The few are what makes change go. Survival is the ultimate resistance when one is unable to do more. Okay.
hmm,
The few have changed this society to become more degenerate, destructive, and killed the incentive for men to do anything more than go to work and focus on their own lives.
yeah, that's basically what I'm doing is going through a grind cycle of I want to save up enough cash to have my own place, but that's not going to happen in this economy. So I'm just saving up for the dream of having my own place.
Correct. And I'm just focused on
And,
doing the cartoons on my own, making it day by day. That's what I
and
want
that,
to do. I'm fulfilled in my life with like that. Doing
yeah,
these talk shows and stuff like that. It's just a hobby.
yeah.
You
You
know?
got to have something to look forward to. That's the only way you can keep yourself sane these days. For
Right.
me, I like having some goals to reach. For a while, I went through college. I wanted my degree. I got my degree. I wanted to start my career. I started my career. I want to go to Japan, just for the shits and giggles of it. I'm going to
like I
Japan.
warned you, careful going over the seas. They'll try to baby lock you.
Oh no, I'm just going over there because I need to contribute to my Pokemon Overlord Masters and buy as much merchandise as possible
Take
when I'm
Chaz
over
with
there.
you.
No,
He's a Heracross.
but I can bring. He's a Heracross?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Paint him green and stuff a horn on him. He'd be like, Heracross! And he just starts flying off a building, breaks his neck.
Just stuff him into a giant beach ball and hurl him into the.
He paint the beach ball like a Pokeball.
He's suffocated. He just pops out.
He's like all blue, and he's got the Family Guy death pose.
You're just like, oh, shiny. Oh man.
He's dead.
He's dead.
He
We'll
should
make
go
it
over,
up to
but
him.
he'll probably be like,
I at least am more well prepared than more common weebs going over there because, well, I actually have talked to Japanese people in the past and have asked them about their cultural norms. I actually very much enjoy the food. It is delicious. And
can't go wrong with sushi.
sushi sandwiches, I love it.
I really don't like the idea of going overseas talking to people. Man, I really don't like the idea of doing that, but I would do it if you were there.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm a bit more used to that concept because before, well, I'm Slavic. I visited family in Ukraine before it is now a war-torn hellhole, and I was used to the idea of just walking around chatting with people in public. I couldn't read the language at all, but I could speak pretty normally. And so,
How long of a flight is it, man?
well, half a day, 12 whole hours, and that's not even including the other flights going between state to state to actually get to that side of the ocean. So it's going to be a rough day on both ways. I've been trying to prepare myself, learn how to read it somewhat, practice my grammar, learn certain phrases. It's also just kind of interesting to actually take another approach on how to communicate with one another because, like I mentioned, they segment words, and
Do you think I'd
they.
be like a freak? They'd be poking sticks at me like of some giant orangutan, red-haired man.
Oh, dude, yes,
beard.
yeah. They have never seen a redheaded. Well, they have never seen a white redheaded man in their life. There actually exists redheads in Japan.
Like no one that looks like he's from a Viking North sort of background, just walking around. They'd probably poke.
One thing I do want to address in this stream, though, I want this on record. They argue about whether or not the subs or dubs of King of the Hill is better. There's actually anime otakus that love King of the Hill. They love Cowboys as much.
Cocksucking
yes.
Days of blowing the government of America. Yeah,
there is people that swear by the dubs versus subs. So there you have it.
I don't like Hank.
Oh no, but the show itself is great.
Yeah, of course, the show is.
Honestly, I watched the show for two people: Dale and Boomhauer. Bobby sometimes, but also Cotton, Hank's dad.
The guy who was 6 feet and then he got his knees blown off.
Yeah, so he walked around on his ankles. And out of like everybody, they were always racist towards the Khans because they assumed they were Chinese or Japanese, but Cotton was the only one that recognized him. He's like, "You're from Laos, aren't you, Mr. Khan?" And he only knew that because, well,
he was in the war.
he was in, yeah, and he knew what a Laotian was because he's seen many in the eye before he, slaughtered them mercilessly.
Yeah. I got some opinions. I've never seen the show per se, but I've seen reviews of character analysis that were popping up. I have an idea.
Yeah.
But yeah, Hank Hill, compared to now, my opinion of him would be, yep, you would take it up the ass by a police officer.
Yeah.
So I don't like that idea, and it's like the America you guys are promoting never existed.
Yeah, they love cowboys and Western stuff just as much as we love the whole, I guess, anime stuff.
I can understand Western shit's awesome.
No. I myself enjoy
I am a big fan of JoJo,
burgers.
So I just like big muscly men beating the fuck out of each other. That's testosterone.
Jotaro.
I mean, hell, I drew Louis.
Kisama.
Louis sent me a picture of, like, I think, was it Lucario?
Yeah.
Of, like, being a JoJo character, and I just drew Louis over that.
That's what it was?
Yeah. This is Louis.
No. Yeah, I thought you rotoscoped Gaston or something in that.
No one dies like Gaston. No.
Oh, I spent a whole week trying to find the Gaston actor when I was in Disneyland, and I was severely disappointed.
Want to go? But
yes.
And did you see the one video the lady got kicked out when she sexually assaulted?
What? No way.
Yeah, there was a video of this lady grabbing Gaston's like chest for a picture, and he's like, "Okay, you're done. There's children here. Get the F out." He broke character and kicked her out.
Wow, it takes a lot to break them out of character.
She just straight up sexually assaulted him.
Wow. Yeah, that would do it.
This is the picture I drew. The fucking goddamn realistic legs.
Oh, jeez. There's a little bit of delay on the stream, so.
Don't worry, you'll see it.
Oh, and you never did see the pregnant tails that I sent in the chat. God, it's so terrible. Oh.
Stupid leg.
Oh. Oh, you know what? That brings up my attention. So that I actually do recognize one of those characters. That one that the hand is covering is from a show recently that I got pressure to watch called Oshi no Koi, which translates to "Love is a lie" or something like that, or "Love lies or love."
Looks like too much is going on, and my eyes hurt.
So I don't know. Like I said, that coworker of mine that's a consumer was like worshiping that show, and it just had like really weirdly misplaced innuendos and stuff where it really didn't need it to be. And I don't enjoy sad animes. I know people love dramas or whatever. I just don't enjoy sad shows.
Like dramas. I don't think men on whole want to go turn on a TV show and cry.
Apparently this dude wanted to, so whatever.
He's a bitch.
I like keeping a job.
You know, the best insults to make online, I found out, is just quoting domination lines from like Team Fortress 2 characters.
Oh, like, that holds a place.
Fat is beautiful. Then just the next comment's a scout close up, mean like next time eat a salad.
TF2 is a timeless classic. Unfortunately, its time is ending because Valve is letting it die.
Yeah, Valve is letting it die. So as far as I'm concerned, Valve can go fuck themselves. Hey, 1, 2, 3. Look at that. I can do something you can't, bitch. Hey, Gaben, why don't you die of a heart attack, you fat fuck?
But I like Gaben.
Gay Ben. Gay Ben? And his real name is Ben, and he's gay! I cracked the code.
I thought his actual name was Gabe.
I don't fucking care. As far as I'm concerned, he's a fat fuck.
Yeah, I remember the whole story, it being just they had another guy named Gabe, so they shortened his to Gaben because his last name is Newell.
Right. What if Gabe Newell like typed in my chat and was like, "Fuck you"?
he removes your entire Steam profile and he just flips you off.
It's like, why were you watching me?
He was waiting for Just Cause.
Like, hey,
You'll never be able to stream games again. You'll have to use, oh god, dare I say it, Origin.
oh god, I'd rather set my computer on fire or never play a
Yeah.
game ever again.
You could play Titanfall. You could play Mass Effect.
You could play with my fat fucking nuts.
Or you could play Mass Effect Andromeda.
You can. All right. Thank you all for tuning in to these citrus events. I've been your host, Cyrus McCormick, and this is Ben. How should I say you? And my friend here,
Yeah.
Louis McGrath.
Louis. We're
Louis.
both tired.
You're tired.
Yeah, I got off a 12-hour shift at the ball crushing factory.
All right. We'll catch you guys next time.